Hi, this is Imre Galambos, Professor of Chinese at the University of Cambridge. This video is about the necessity to be able to adjust to the circumstances when working on a larger research project. How important it is to make adjustments when experiencing difficulties, when facing setbacks. It is about how we need to maintain a level of flexibility to react to the changing reality around us, and to act upon feedback, whether it is positive or negative. So if this is something you're interested in, stick around. When in grad school, we agonize for months, sometimes even years, over what the topic of our dissertation should be, what the best way of approaching the material is, what types of methodologies we should adopt, and what the best structure for the dissertation itself is. So when we finally come up with something that seems feasible, we stick to our vision as if our life depended on it. And this type of perseverance is very important for the success of the project. This is what keeps us going when the going gets tough. But sometimes sticking to the plan too rigidly can also become a problem. Man plans, God laughs. Because nothing ever goes according to plan. And I mean ever. Especially if it is a project that lasts years and to a significant degree relies on knowledge we do not yet possess and data we have not yet analyzed. Inevitably, we run into problems. We cannot get hold of our primary material because it's somehow inaccessible, and we need to go across the world to examine some rare books in a library, or to gain access to archives, or to conduct interviews on site. Of course, we do our best to overcome the obstacles, but it is not always possible. Sometimes there is not enough time left, there is not enough money, or due to our family circumstances, we cannot go and spend 6 months in a mountain somewhere recording in detail the rituals of a local tribe. Perhaps our funding gets cut due to reasons unrelated to us. Or to say something completely unexpected, a worldwide pandemic descends upon us, bringing the world to a halt for a while, closing down libraries, archives, and even airports. So what do we do in such cases? Is the project doomed? Do we fail and there's nowhere else to go from here? Of course not. We adapt, we adjust. And I can think of 4 reasons why it's not only possible, but actually useful to do. Number 1, the project is arbitrary. Although we grew to see the project almost as having a mind of its own, and may have even learned to subordinate our lives to it, we need to remember that it is something we came up with ourselves. It is our own invention. The plan wasn't handed down to us in a divine revelation. Neither did we stumble upon it in some old book. We built it ourselves based on what we thought would work best. Which means that the way we envisioned this down to its finest details is actually arbitrary. There are an infinite number of other ways of doing this, and ironically, some of these are actually better ways of doing it. So if we need to change things, so be it. It's not a big deal unless we make a big deal out of it. There's nothing sacred in how we planned the project originally. Whether it's the entire structure of the project or smaller parts of it, just go ahead and make the necessary adjustments so that it fits the new reality around you better. Number 2, obstacles are natural. Things not going according to plan is the normal state of affairs. Indeed, it would be insane to expect everything always work out the way we planned. Whatever you do, there will always be problems with it, and the more complex the task, the more problems there are. As I said earlier, nothing ever goes according to plan. Most things go off plan before they even begin, and some of them cannot even get started. So you should anticipate that there will be problems, and that you would be hindered by obstacles as you move forward. And the further you go, the more likely that there will be things you didn't plan for, that you will wander off the yellow brick road and run into adventures. In other words, there's nothing abnormal about encountering obstacles. It is just inevitable. In fact, a major obstacle along the way has the benefit of making most smaller ones go away, or making them seem inconsequential. Related to this is the 3rd point, that is, obstacles have benefits. Sure, they're not pleasant, they can be stressful and sometimes outright enraging. But they bring out your plan's weaknesses, draw attention to potential shortcomings. And by working your way through them, you cut through the noise eliminate excess weight, making your project and dissertation all that more streamlined and tight. In fact, some of the obstacles are a form of feedback because they arise from something that you misjudged, and by resolving them, you take care of the problems in your work. Other problems may be unrelated to you, they arise from the world around you, but they nevertheless present you with a situation that requires you adjusting your course and thereby improving your work. In many cases, such objective obstacles that hit not only you but everyone else help eliminate competition. They separate the wheat from the chaff, and you want to make sure that you adapt better than others and stay on top. It is like in natural selection, the surviving species are not necessarily the quickest, the biggest, the strongest, but the ones that can adapt faster and better. So from this perspective, you should welcome such opportunities because they give you a chance to show that you adapt better than others. Number 4, restrictions foster innovation. When everything goes according to plan, you can achieve your goal in an efficient and predictable manner. But this is also the most boring path, when your work really feels like work. The most exciting part of research is when you come across unexpected things, when you discover details you had no idea about. And these kinds of discoveries are much more likely to happen when you're navigating uncharted territories, when you're trying to resolve unanticipated problems. For example, it is common with athletes to develop their signature techniques while trying to compensate for injuries, which prevent them from doing things the way everybody usually does them. And this is because they have to figure out how to perform a technique when they cannot do it the normal way anymore. And as a result, they often come up with something no one else does, but which is extremely efficient. And then after that, everybody tries to copy them. So I think it is true in general that restrictions engender creative solutions. So don't see obstacles as problems, even if they're as big as the pandemic around us. Look at them as opportunities that push you in a direction you were not planning to go. Okay, so these are the 4 points in praise of the ability to adapt to changing circumstances around us. Let me know if you have any questions or if there are topics you want me to talk about. And please hit the subscribe and like buttons to help the channel. Thank you for watching and see you next time.